Looking at some of the standout players on the side of MIBR in the composition, looking more so at this double duelist, SRN has been a force to be reckoned with all day. And Bastarda going on to that Yoru. Emily, this is the double duelist to try and pick apart Wada to close out this fourth map.
Yeah, I think they're not going to have too much of a problem, to be honest. Like, to add on to Ash's point on the double controller, I think Wada is going to struggle a lot. Not only just on the attack, trying to get past all these smokes, and having the double duelist be able to fight and continue fighting up even after one entry point has been made, but on that defense, on being able to like take care of the lurks well, while also having that Viper wall be able to cut off like certain lines that Starbound might be trying to take with off.
Going into this now, MIBR so close to closing it out. Can it be on Vine? Let's find out. Head to the map and back to your casters, Vance and Lemon.
Thank you, Sierra. We went to a grueling overtime with a tech pause thrown into the mix. Frustrations, but MIBR closed out. Can Wada do the same thing here on Vine? This is their pick.
It's their pick. They didn't get the best of results against Akave yesterday, but I think it's because Akave came up with something new that MIBR was not, or sorry, that Wada was not ready of. The dive here with the Whaley. This time, a little bit more conventional, so Wada should be ready for this. A 4-1 split, a pinch towards Showers. They're gonna try to shut it down.
The Torrent does exactly that. Holy. Every round you see them and they perform better and better. And Wada are usually shy away from pistols, not their forte, but when you leave gaps like that, it's easy for Starbound to execute both. Jeez, a Wada pistol under the bell. We're in for a treat.
And that's the calls here for Parapixel to let the team know how quickly you want to activate. So noticing that nothing's really happening towards this short A side, and that they've had zero presence on B. Well, as soon as Starbound gets contacted, gets to fight here towards Showers, noticing how aggressive they are towards Showers, that's where you start activating double satchels back into the back shower spot and get that pincer maneuver. After that, it's the good old standard trying to block off the lanes here with this deadlock. And they're able to convert a very clean piss round to kick off this map number 4.
Why did I get to fall back to what worked out for them on Lotus? Astralis on Deadlock, of course, Adora on Raze, Parapixel, what an MVP performance on Fade. They get to just stick to their comfort, stick to their guns.
Yeah.
MIBR, they're the ones that pulled through under such a deficit.
Only difference is really the Brimstone and the Omen actually going into this composition for this map, which makes sense. You get much stronger smoke lines here, 20 seconds instead of the 15 of Omen. And you have those on Brimstone. What that allows for you to do is once you start contacting plays and you're starting these first smokes into your execs, if you're getting stalled by, let's say, a Viper Molly that's usually, I think if I'm not mistaken, like 7 seconds, that's still 13 seconds for you to engage for that second wave while still having some covers into the spawn to flood in, just like this.
Oh, Lisa wants to contest this, stepping into the face of danger, hoping to get the cutoff as Wada were dropping down, and now Lisa is awkward and no Wrath to save them, hoping to keep their heads above water, but Wada, they fire on all cylinders, and MIBR barely scratching the surface of this ironclad post plant.
And they're just waiting for the right moment to let that spike detonate, go into the TP, and die to spike. You don't want to give any snowbally effects for the side of Wada, especially when Parapixel is already halfway, almost, well, actually, literally halfway to their ultimate going into round number 3, which is why you're already seeing them moving down with the Ghost, trying to chase down towards that spawn. You want to start snowballing things on the side of Wada.
Wada being able to carry all these weapons into the bonus, and the Outlaws definitely part of that Starbound special. Now you wonder how are MIBR going to switch it up?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good call too, because right now for the looks that we've seen in the last couple of rounds for piss around to anti-eco on the side of Wada, you've shown hands towards A, you've shown a slow start until a full committal into the B site. But that's all on MIBR playing a little bit more passively without really trying to find that early information. With the exception, of course, of that double swing towards that Showers on that piss around. So you need to start leveraging it, Bastarda right now setting up that TP towards that A site and then trying to potentially get that line down. You really need to jump spot, find something here to activate in these moments, which is why you're seeing early prowlers coming out from MIBR as well. How to react on that as soon as the Bulldog is heard here, shot down by Adora, and takes down that prowler. You're already seeing they're falling back for a bit. Still holding on, though, to the C's nade in case that second wave is from Wada into the A site.
A lot for PowerPixel to create a distraction. Prowler, and now a barrier right at the toes of SRN. Oh, and Adora pumps are full of bullets. Fantastic synergy from Wada to get themselves set up. Double swing out of U-Haul. Sayori had something to say about it. Wada still have numbers. Injuries, though, don't make this too convincing yet. Start is now revealed by the C's, so we'll have to link up with Lisa from the B site. Having to still take care of this barrier. It actually just expires, but I like this position, though. Top of heaven. Wada were last seen in U-Haul. Lisa has to push this. Be aggressive. Watching that angle. Starbound. And it's enough. Bastarda falls too. This is quite dominant from Wada. Kill-wise as well.
Yeah, the setup on the post plan was beautiful, but even more on the entry. Again, the reads coming out from PowerPixel A and what they're currently calling. They see the first prowler coming in towards short, and then when you see the second prowler going in towards showers, they're like, okay, well, they got to be prowling showers and doubling up on that side. Where are our smokes? They throw it to actually block the cross between triple and showers, so they could actually have a clean path to Satchel from Adora to take down the one that's spraying onto the wall in back of the spawn. Caught them off guard and allowed Wada to get the entry into the site. That was nice. It was still a gamble, though, because you don't know if anybody's playing barrels or top heaven, which is why they have backup at the same time, but it still worked out. Allows for them to convert a bonus round and have a very strong anti-eco again.
Oh, PowerPixel A does not shy away, but could they be walking into SRN? There'd be a lot on her plate. Wada. Power of friendship overcomes. Now Sayori with the Sheriff has a duel against Astralis. Could be a weapon recovery, and that's important for Sayori. It's Wada will be pivoting to the other side of the map.
And they'll be able to stall as soon as they start hearing the noise here. Lisa already has that wall up, so that should be coming down fairly soon. The timing's still available for Wada to start flooding into the site.
Haunt. Lisa revealed. Adora tried to react, but Lisa's better. But Wada support each other. There is layers to this offense, and it gets deadlier as we go on into bind.
30
so far,
seconds
flawless.
Left. Spike planted.
And Wada, 3 members left, and now their economy gets to swell, and they'll get to even get an op soon for Starbound, which was a huge part of their success. Starda allowed to pick the weapon, and you thought it was bait. Juna went steady in time, but Starbound confirms the round, and it's looking good for Wada.
I love how PowerPixel A is doing everything in their power, literally, to like try to get the teammates to jump up with them, but they're the only ones setting up, but it's fine. You're feeling vibey. You're starting to see that your calls are correct every single time. One of those calls is seeing that you've already delayed enough from MIBR on that B side on your eco, yet you still want to go in for that trait, knowing that the Yoru is playing towards that B side under the window because of the crossfire setup. They can't pick up a weapon yet. So you get the plant, you try to punish that. Although Bastarda found a gap in the post-plant scenario, the decision to really get into the site still and try to punish off these trades and guarantee the plant was still some great calls coming out from PowerPixel A. And they're starting to notice this right now from MIBR. They don't really have a real grasp of defending these sites if they're giving this space over to Wada. Again, I feel like they need to get this op up as soon as possible. They need to be a little bit more proactive in terms of trap plays if they don't have the op, and try to get something behind the prowlers, because they are trying to find their early information as early as possible, probably like 20 seconds in with the fade in their comp.
Gonna be a long series, and the energy has to be kept up for MIBR too. Confident this is not their first rodeo, and certainly won't be their last. especially having some insurance in the series always helps, but this is a very familiar position for MIBR, who went down 7 rounds just the previous map just to go on and win it all. Nothing like an MIBR comeback.
Yeah, and for what are the fans currently watching, you don't want that to happen. And it's a great start for PowerPixel that continues to form from their Lotus game. 7-0-0 so far. Controlling orb on the side of MIBR, actually controlling space. They do have the operator up as soon as possible, but Starbound still wins it.
Oh, they're so good. Slow start for MIBR. Over there. To continue to have to track where this chamber is, but win condition behind PowerPixel. To get everything set up. MIBR? Lisa?
Over there.
It's been quite aggressive, like just thinking about how they approach that first pistol. Now already spotting this push, and the teleport could be taken there by Sayuri, especially with the judge. But now the nightfall ensues, and Wada are gonna outnumber these defenders unless help comes in quickly. They know where these defenders are. Wada just have to execute, but they want the swings to be well synchronized, and so it is. Lisa falls. MIBR on the way, not taking the teleport, and it's just up to Mel.
30 seconds.
Kind of prevent the spike from getting planted, but you can't. You try to trim down Wada, caught with util in hand. Such a struggle for MIBR. Once Wada are a unit, you cannot dismantle them.
Under the pressure, though, I love what was attempted by both players just under the window from MIBR. The first one gets, actually, they both get netted, but one of them actually gets out of it so that you could actually bait at least some util coming through and not let them know that there's 2 players there. Even a tether that was thrown, you don't really see them catch on and latch onto 2 players yet for the side of Wada. So there's still an element of surprise until finally the nightfall comes through. So they tried to bait as long as possible and force the mistake out of Wada. But in the end, it's still Wada that holds that patience, that continues to leverage and cycle ults in these advantageous positions for the side of the attack so far. And I'm loving the display of the IGL and also the commitment of Wada in these rounds.
There.
SRN still has a nade, no boom bot, so gonna stay as close and tucked in so that the stinger can find purchase. Wada are cool to take things slow, and I think it's Adora that could come kicking and screaming with the showstopper, but happy to just collect the orb. Follow what Starbound sees here over at B.
And that's the thing. You've given a lot of space for MIBR again. Now you're going to need... okay, actually, this is different. Because PowerPixel is moving up with Starbound and also Adora, so they can move into the B site. If they were trying to commit into a split, it's over. MIBR wins the round. But they're leveraging now Juna to hold a super late lurk on the exit from the front B site.
Oh, patience on the trigger from Adora. But still land the showstopper right at Bastardo, who came out of hookah. MIBR wanted to keep that power position. They all get blown out of the water, and Wada now are being met by some well-timed swings. MIBR shoot them in the back. Wada for the first time will be destabilized. There's now an orbital strike. Sayuri panicking, 11 HP, Starbound. Can only do what? All they can do is watch. That's an MIBR thrifty to start the pivot.
That is an insane round coming out from MIBR for the retake. The paint shells being thrown by SRN from the spawn, blowing up towards the air, spreading out. Wada not being able to set up and watch the angles. Those are the gaps that allows the flood to come back. Look at this. The seize is perfect. You move forward. Even though these picks are coming across, it comes down to those star players around SRN. Showstopper off the pick too. And they still had ults when it started getting these picks. So we don't see a 7-0 scoreline, but those opportunities where you have an ult to be able to leverage a shorter buy that you have on your side of MIBR and converting out of that one. That's a huge W.
Juna encounters SRN. SRN, you saw even in the cams how she's starting to feel really good. You gotta worry if you're Wada. SRN arguably the best player in the scene now. Fluorescent's been promoted. Any player in this lobby is very deserving of that too. Wadada on the approach. Annihilation. Sayuri with the judge too. This is gonna be strong for that U-Haul control. Wadada, there's no one in sight. Gotta be within U-Haul. Someone's jumping on the other side. And there is the Nightfall from Mel and SRN. And friends, hold on to U-Haul. Wadada walked into a trap, and then there's just no escaping it until they take the teleporter right to the grasp of Bastarda as Azor went to check the corner.
30 seconds left.
This round's not looking too good for Wadada.
Starbuy has to come up huge, though. The barrel of the gun sticking. That's it. So Yura gets that pick after all inside the judge. And then the pick onto the last one, stolen by Lissa. But that is some nice anchoring being done when already SRN was damaged early in the round. So just as I've mentioned, when you had the timeout being called by MIBR, I was expecting or hoping to see a little bit more aggression and trying to get a feeler around the map of where Wadada would be setting up. So SRN walks down to 30 HP. But yet when it comes down to the mid rounding and you're trying to go for the full exec, I haven't really found out the information of where the players are being set at, and your trap plays to try to take over U-Haul is met by a judge, and you're not going to try to run into that. So as we talked about a fast tempo on the side of MIBR, that tempo was lacking for Wadada as soon as they saw the aggression coming out from their opponents.
Like that MIBR, just not gonna early peek anymore. It felt like they were getting picked, and that's kind of how Wadada were able to explode into the site afterwards. And look how much more dialed back MIBR have been, which has forced the hand of Wadada and right into the grasp of MIBR, who after just only 2 rounds won, Wadada forced to take a timeout to kind of ice out what MIBR are trying to build.
It makes sense too, because those 2 rounds that they lost, the first one is against a thrifty where they couldn't really set up on the first entries that they've gotten. They still lost the 2 versus X again, just like Ascent. But this round that we just witnessed, there was unfortunately no ways to really get into the sites. Even if you throw your wall back towards the spawn, it gets immediately broken up, and then you can't really take U-Haul control because of the judge. So they need to add a little bit more to get that extra inch for the space that they want to take towards that back of the A site, or any type of sites that they're trying to take here, to not allow MIBR to flood very quickly, because MIBR doesn't look like they want to wait for fighting into the pulse plan scenarios. They want to fight as soon as they're up there.
Oh, the ping off the boom bot. MIBR though don't want to get antsy. No early pit. Gonna leave things open, because Wadada like to run down the clock. So let Wadada make the first move.
And Syria already only has 1 smoke left. So the more that you pressure up towards this side here on B, maybe it brings out the last smoke. And then they could go for the late pivot. The thing is, right now, you're just inserting Starbound to watch towards Hookah because of the boombot that they heard at the beginning of the round. And now it's going to have to be on the rest of Wadada to try to make this noise towards this A side. So the boombot starts, but I'm not sure. Startup finds that timing.
Oh, just double checking. Bastarda alive and well. Wadada continue to hit a brick wall, failing 2 rounds in a row now to get in. Bastarda has to take a blind shot, and now huddled in around smokes. The plant just barely goes off, planted for showers. Wadada will just play behind it. But with MIBR still lurking around, here is the approach, here is the flank, checked by Juna. One within the site still is Adora. Post-plant orbital strike as the Viper's Pit comes out. Lisa will dominate the zone as orbital strike opens up the sky. And Juna impacting this round in a big way.
The Molly
The
missed!
defuse not being held, and the Molly just at the edge. It's gonna be held. A crucial mistake after all is said and done. MIBR on a streak.
It was going to be such a big round for Juna until the Molly missed. The first trade-off is such an important fight that she had to win against the flank from the Fade on that TP. She wins that one, has the orbital strike as that checkmate. She gets it onto the ground and even wins against the players pushing against her on Shower on the 1v1. But unfortunately, that second one, going into that molly on the ground, you already got it halfway. You could have full stuck it because Juna had no idea. Now she forces to run out. Sayuri, runs through with the Phantom and now allows MIBR to close the gap by 2 and break the econ for Wada. We are a little bit too antsy on the side of a Wada on that split towards that A site. Australis got punished very easily, trusting too much on the Boombot scale.
Oh, Boombot. Oh
my
off of
God.
That push at Dora. The 1-2. Waving goodbye to MIBR. Keeping them at bay. Mel throwing everything. Sees and Hunt and Bastardo will watch over. Fishing. And one. No, nothing claimed. Wada in trouble with nothing going for them. Now a Molly at the feet of PowerPixel, bringing them to their knees. It's a 3 versus 3, but the post plan is so uncomfortable. Barely any space to work with. Bastarda, the dimensional drift to call out where everybody is, all corralled in U-Haul. Someone can tap the spike. Bastarda will watch. A little awkward on the U-Cell timing, and Bastarda still confirms the kill. And Lisa contributes, and MIBR have found the secret sauce to this defense.
Amazing entries by Adora, though. The Boombot to break the crosshair placement, running through that and just getting a crosshair placement on the first and even the second one. So you get those two in that plant, you'll take it any day. Just unfortunately, when it comes down to that retake, they had to face against a dimensional drift. Yeah, look at those shots. So clean. A little bit too early before the smokes came down, so you already started losing some pieces as you're getting into the site for the plant. Also just losing 1v1s on a lower buy. At least it allows for you to get the op up for this round here with some armor.
Huge game already for Bastarda. So much hype behind this signing. Whole community is freaking out over this new super team in Brazil. And Lisa, forced to be reckoned with as well, including in that addition. Just has to kind of balance out the aggression. Well, Lissa and Melissa. Deadly duo over here on this side, but somehow the angle is found. Starbound pierces through, forces the wall up for MIBR as they have to take a seat.
Satchel out.
This SRN, she loses this position. It's gonna really crack this defense. And Wada to have different plans, and they're gonna walk into the grasp of a judge. Even with the nightfall, Sayori has at least able to do damage, and that's what matters. Wada, barely anything going for them. The spike, it's even so destabilized. Speaking of that, SRN is now coming through the flank loud and proud with the showstopper. Checks the corner. U-Haul's the only place they can be. Oh, Starbound in some danger, but PowerPixel will not let go of this position. Just taking 1v1s all day. Much needed win for Wada to kind of get back into this game.
The XEG players, PowerPixel and Starbound as the dynamic duo, are able to clutch this out on a 2 versus 3. I was going to comment off screen how well SRN played this. Look at this pick. Juna tucks it into an area and should have the surprise attack onto SRN because she was able to fall back and force SRN to run against her. But she loses that fight. SRN even picks up the orb before the spike gets planted, allowing the showstopper to come out. Unfortunately, it doesn't connect, but it's given the space for MIBR to flood back. But it's the firepower of the XEG that works out in their favor.
Okay. So this walk down from SRN. It's annihilated from Wada. And look, they're even just shooting through the smoke. They know SRN is never alone on these endeavors. And the wall, the Viper wall is completely changed up. Lisa's supporting A because a lot of the hits have been on that side of the map.
It was an interesting take too, because I can't remember, but it didn't feel like Bastarda was moving up with them because they're holding an op. They have to have showers, so they can't really smoke through the flash through the smoke with the haunt to get some value here off that showers push. So that gets the punish onto SRN and allowing Wada to wait off this smoke and go for the exit on this B site now.
Starbound found the angle to open things up last round.
Yeah, they know this hits
Dead
B.
silence.
You've already pushed out all the way out shower, so this is the call to maintain your positions.
Oh, Adora traded out once again. But man, the layers of Snakebite and Molotovs, man, Wada were delayed and almost stopped. Bastarda rotating in late. Be awkward to fight, and no rifle in sight to switch up with, so maybe just a pick and go situation.
Westerner gave her some ones, but PowerPixel almost could have been picked off there, but Bastarda is going to decide to save the weapon, so nicely done towards Wada in the end, but you can still see the value that MIBR has by pushing out in these aggressive angles when you have a Euro TP, especially with the operator right now too. You could shut down such a big section of this map against your attackers. So when Bastarda calls that, I'm already pushed out towards showers, there's nobody here, they're definitely coming towards this B site, you still have the right amount of numbers. It's just difficult to hold that against a showstopper coming in off that second layer of the ult, or the second layer of the hit that came out here from Wada. But I think in future rounds, when you don't have these big ults to create that space for the side of Wada, this same type of playstyle from MIBR could be very fruitful for them.
And after a slower map one, like Adora is either top frag or second frag. Like 20 kills in the last game to building up these showstoppers like so fast in this map. But can they do it without ults? That's the big question. And SRN aggressive here at the start of A. It's already humbled by some util, at least forcing it out. Wada pretty happy with what's been invested by MIBR, and we're ready to almost fight through it.
Yeah, it's interesting the play that they have. They go for the Viper Orb lineup basically with the Brimstone Smoke to take full control of short, but you've wasted so much util in the very beginning. Starbound watching towards the hookah push, nothing coming out there, so it might just be the Hail Mary with the rest. When you have the second Prowler, it's going to clear out towards the hookah, you give your tell, you honk towards that site, and then you just try to move here as a group, as a unit, to try to go for the entry.
Smoke's down.
Pick here would be huge for Sayori to have that another ult to use if Wada are successful in this gunfight. Now amongst the smoke, there's one lurking. That's Bastarda.
Spike planted.
And Wada still managed to get a spike down through all the chaos with MIBR neighboring the objective. And Wada now hold their ground. They're wrapping around through elbow, and MIBR gotta pick a side, gotta pick a route. And it's Bastarda that has to keep the backline safe. A late nightfall to get MIBR an advantage. The information, and PowerPixel is able to handle the pressure despite and almost flashed by the decoy. And Juna catches Lisa lacking. SRN, the clock was almost getting to them. Important clutch is going to reaffirm the duelist.
Very nice from Juno, at least. The fact that you react on breaking the satchel to try to win your 1v1 towards the end doesn't work out. There's still a nice little 1v1 towards SRN. I just gotta say that wall was missed by Astralis. You see that it blocks the entrance, but it doesn't fully cover the spawn. So they don't get audio cues if anybody's rotating out towards that spot. You have to peek for some information, and you're getting picked off. But nice for MIBR to once again close that gap, getting at series point. But now, let's go check out with Vermela.
Uma moral aqui na rapaziada das Watch Parties, estou com a Vermelha e com a Vicky, criadoras de conteúdo e streamers aqui do Brasil. So I'm here joined by Vermelha and Vic, content creators in Brazil. And I want to ask for Vicky, like, why does it have to be so difficult always for Brazilian teams to win in Brazil? Por que sempre tem que ser difícil para nós ganhar aqui, cara?
Eu acho que é a nossa humildade, né, Tonelo? A gente quer deixar a galera jogar, a gente já tá em casa, a gente tem que dar uma chance. E porque brasileiro precisa de emoção, né? Não tem como, tem que ser com emoção, a gente não tem outra opção.
So basically, she said that it's always got to be with emotion. That's the Brazilian style, like that's Brazilian way, and also because of they're trying to just be humble and let the other team play as well. E agora eu quero saber de você, você que é uma das grandes arrozes de festa, de eventos internacionais, de ver todos os tipos de eventos internacionais possíveis. Peça um placar vermelho.
Olha,
Tô por você.
tem que continuar sendo difícil porque a gente tem que sofrer aqui, tem que sofrer lá, mas a gente vai sofrer porque vai dar certo. Então eu acho que vai ser um 13-10. Assim.
Posso confiar?
Pode locar aí, tá locado já.
So I asked her for a score for this map and she said 13-10. Posso mesmo?
Pode.
Posso, galera. 13-10, vocês estão por mim? Tá de boa? Vamos junto? Legal. O barulho foi ok. Acho que tem a galera que é um pouco mesmo, mas beleza. Tá suave, vamos junto. O importante é ganhar. Se for 13-10, eu tô feliz.
I'm glad our co-streamers are having a blast and giving respect to Wada, still giving them like a 13-10 scoreline. Everybody knows this is close.
Especially with the showings that you've seen from Wada this map, it has been a little bit of a ping pong in terms of performances for Wada when it comes down to this matchup against MIBR. But at least the maps that they are strong on, they know that they could fight pound for pound against MIBR. That's Lotus, that's this map right here, and that's also Ascent. But they need to have this map right here for Wada, of course, to stand a chance, because if not, they're eliminated. But also, Sunset is a huge question mark on their performances. They've been so inconsistent on that map too. But at least they have the cushion on Bind to try to close the second half to tie this series up against MIBR.
Look at where this wall is too. MIBR can do a lot with this to kind of isolate this U-Haul battle. It does come up, and Starbound just disrespecting it and almost had two down early. That first pistol did go Wadada's way with that 5-0 start. MIBR not going to waste any time to absorb that space once the teleport comes out of Starbound. Quick little plant because of that smoke, and the nade doesn't land where Dora wanted to prevent the plant. MIBR fall back to play through main. It's going to be important for PowerPixel, and Bastarda was already low. It's a good shout. Now Bastarda, or PowerPixel, it's going to be a nuisance back here. He's already going to draw one from MIBR back, and Wadada push the front lines. They're going to stick on this defuse, and only so much Melissa can do. Except playtime, and almost get stabbed in the face. But there's a Wadada pistol taking both in this map.
That would have been a nice little back to Abyss, where I think SRN had a knife kill, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
It's been so long ago, but definitely seeing that in the piss round, it has the story of Wadada not winning pistols is out of the window now. It's been back and forth throughout this series against MIBR, and it was so close on how they held this for that side of the attack for the Brazilian team. And it only makes sense. They didn't really plant for a lineup for the molly, so they had to play on site. So Sayuru stays there towards pocket, behind the towel, and then they have a 3-player crossfire setup. But Juna throws one more smoke, and then that forces MIBR to run inside the smoke and getting punished. So an anti-eco for Wadada. Juna playing close.
Juna's trying to scrap the SMG, and the spam comes out of Wadada. Try and strike at MIBR, get them as weak as they can. And it's working out. Starbound just gets to poke away with the sniper as usual.
But two
Bringing
bullets,
so many weapons, yeah.
2 bullets, 3 kills. That was actually staying stoic in your position there for Starbound. As you notice how chaotic it was when we were flipping from players to players, you know that there was a lot of util standing and being laid across the A site. Until Starbound just holds the angle and just finds the timing right here. The vibes are still there.
Of course it is. Now MIBR have something to contend with back. Prowler, someone is up on this alleyway. Gonna use both Prowlers. Still have the hunt and seize for MIBR to get set up into B in the early deadlock barrier. Wadada want to buy a bit more time after hearing that decoy walk up. Didn't know it was a decoy. MIBR still have a lurk too on the other side, so that's where they're gonna end up being after pretty satisfied with the amount of util they got out of Wada.
That said, the Prowler, I think, just saw Bastarda. She had to shoot that Prowler out and now forces a second TP. So far, they've done a good job stalemating that forward B push. You wasted out one smoke already with only a grab net that's going to be refreshable for your end for Wada. And then you're also forcing out that second TP from Bastarda, where she can't escape and will have to make some noise.
MIBR just being gifted here, and Lisa.
No way.
Oh my god! 15 HP, main character energy much. And MIBR will get to plant still. And Wada's flank unsuccessful, but there's still another one, and Pixel is to start cutting noise so that they can actually get away with it. Wada will push the front line, starting with Juna. Getting through U-Haul against the other Brim.
Free kill.
These Brims so late in the round makes it so hard to navigate around the map, and flank starts to work for Wada. Time is of the essence though, and MIBR, that's what they have to work with, and SRN, it's just a practice range when you line up like that.
And Aura standing up with Alyssa right next to them. Beautiful shots with taps on players trying to run away from the paint shells that were left behind. I was going to say, when Bastarda went for the TP and then went for the Euro TP back towards that B site, that was a free give because you're walking into showers, you're not checking your left side corner, yet somehow you still flick in to get the kill. That was an insane shot from the Guardian against the Stinger. No bonus converted for the Sada Wada, but they still have strong weaponry. Already hearing the jump spots from Lissa at the very beginning as Starbound continues to hold that line.
Charlotte still has the barrier. The boombot from SRN, Wada, very familiar that SRN never comes in alone. And Lisa does not care who's with her. Creating havoc on the opposite side of the world, where MIBR, when there's success over at A, that's where they usually end up being. Wada gonna confirm how close MIBR are, but now getting through the teleporter, somehow you lost Melissa through all of that. The plant can still continue. Juna will be around the corner, smoked off, and Wada haven't tried to push out of smokes in these moments, so MIBR is secure for the plant. Oh, a little shaky for Juna. That looks so winnable against SRN, who's been a laser today. Standing up out of their seat, though. Wada, PowerPixel A, gonna be telling them to sit down very soon. It's the Nightfall versus the Showstopper. Who's gonna win long range? Barely dodged. Splash, but Adora has to do it all on their own. Bastarda keeps MIBR ingrained in this map.
It's almost looking at this game, the amount of times that PowerPixel A is finding timing, they're gonna win it. But everybody else that are finding timing on the side of Wada and getting first shots are just not there. I love that play, by the way, from Lissa against Starbound. She threw up the wall first to fake out that there's gonna be some sort of a walk up. Usually you don't pull that wall up and down right away. So as soon as she pulls it down, the barrel of the op is sticking out, and then she just wins the fight off crosshair placement because Starbound feels like they have to peek. That opened up everything for MIBR to overtake this site. Wada is now broke as they go for early information on both sides. Haunt on one end, Wall on the other. Wall gets broken, and Prowler goes through. So they know now that leans towards A. You're trying to play this close with the shorty. Nice shot.
And now MIBR also know that Strawless has been leaning on that side with that early showers barrier. Bastarda will still try to split the focus of Wada on this defense by creating pressure on multiple angles.
Huge first kill by Juna, but they can't pick up that weapon either. You gotta praise that she was able to dance around those two smokes though to get the top of the boxes and that pick onto Lissa. But this is still a huge advantage for MIBR because of the weapons.
Same hit for MIBR. Play smokes down, plant and profit. And SRN wins the duels. Wada hoping to do damage, and at least they'll be together as Starbound revealed. Wadada try to swing off of this, at least work together as Starbound gets away with a double kill. Insane.
One enemy remaining.
And a third?
And this could be a thrifty? Are we serious?
No.
Oh, say, are you okay? Wow, the thrifty give it up. This is unbelievable.
My friends, it's hard to fight against a chamber that has the ult, especially when it's starbound. So despite you trying to go for the let me swing and jump across, the first pick is a slow on the ground. You can't commit to move forward with that. And even though the shot from the ult has been nerfed, it's still quick enough for Starbound to land these shots and somehow turn it back to their favor when it wasn't supposed to be their round at all. Overheated were MIBR to push out towards that spawn, and they've given up that round.
And now Starbound has the op. Potato. They'll get kills with whatever you give them. Wada quick to use these deadlock barriers too. Try and limit what they can. MIBR have to traverse carefully. But Bastarda can make things easy. Dimensional Drape never comes out! Bastarda just jumped up, got headshot. Juna fades into the abyss. And MIBR go to check in on things, and Wada to hold the line. SRN not gonna overheat. Stick to their guns, stick to the plan. But Juna's still in the picture. Got a lot of Utah Wada can throw to corral MIBR to uncomfortable situations. And with what PowerPixel is revealed, MIBR, they have no more advantages. Just the orbital strike, and Lisa has been completely moved off. What a retake from Wadada.
And the molly missed, unfortunately. It was still a lineup for the default when they thought they would have planned it for that. I respect the play that you're doing, because at first you're scratching your head. Why are we not using these ults? They've converted last time on Lotus when they had some kills. They had the Nightfall. They went into the Steel Garden, and then they got the retake onto the site. This time around, you're just trying to make sure that you get into site control and get the plant down, so you can utilize all of these ults for the delays onto the site. Just unfortunately, it wasn't good enough there once those players couldn't really hold long enough into the site. But it really didn't use, I don't think we used a Nightfall either to really stall things out for the side of MIBR. And that allowed Wadada to flood retake the way that they did.
Timeout for MIBR as this game, this series could be getting away from them. But this is a team that never loses composure, it feels like. Because, I mean, they went down 0-7 last map, came back and won. They start off 0-5 here, made it a 5-7 half. And guess what? MIBR just trailing by a few rounds. They need to convert this next one, or it feels pretty over.
Yeah, definitely the second half story of MIBR versus Wadada is not the same as Ascent. MIBR not looking as comfortable on their second half plays, as on the attack side, it seems to get shut down a lot by Starbound being anywhere, from aggressive peaks into the retakes with the op. Very hard to deal with. Now you have the opportunity to do so, though, with this dimensional drift for Bastarda. They're leading for a 4-1, so this is definitely a TP into, ult into Hookah to get the information. Pincer into Octagon. So PowerPixel and Australis have to be ready for this.
Who's next?
See what will come out first. Bastarda now through Hookah. Already sensing this close approach. The quick deadlock barrier, I like that. So you can fall back safely. And Bastarda puts it all on herself to give this win to MIBR. And the rest follow suit. Plant down. Starbound. All they could do is laugh on the edge of that Viper's pit. But Juna having to weigh a heavy decision of where or if to orbital strike, and Wadada not even gonna bother.
You needed that kill. 5 HP remaining coming out for Bastarda when PowerPixel was already ready, never went for the clone juke, but somehow still loses that fight. With the weapon pullout still quick enough is Bastarda, and yeah, with that pit going into that B site, there's no way to flood retake with the op. You're going to be ulting into the blind with your annihilation. You're ulting into the blind trying to flood retake. You're just going to try to take the advantage that you have right now and carry it over to this round. It was so close because everything outside of that, we talked about Astralis and PowerPixel having to be ready for that B side crunch. And they did it perfectly. You had a wall to slow it towards that long B side. Once it gets broken, you could throw the Gravnet on that spot too. That will cancel out the duration of that dimensional drift and allow for you to still anchor up 2 players in there. Just losing that fight for PowerPixel was everything for MIBR to convert that round.
And MIBR able to keep the Nightfall, which will be next on the menu. They can keep disrespecting or wait out the deadlock barrier. Astralis now funneling them into her ultimate. It's this orb grab trying to bait MIBR to show face so that Astralis can grab them, but now the barrier expired. Astralis has to keep the position of Hookah. Oh, shoes were almost removed. Starbound can't miss those, though. They've been usually pretty consistent through this series.
Starbound's usually really good at repositioning and not missing a second shot, though, so they're in a prime position for the re-hit of MIBR through this smoke, where Mel finally will use the Nightfall. They'll spot Astralis.
Just get as much coverage as possible. The Prowler, Astralis, overwhelmed. As MIBR overcome an important round.
30 seconds left.
Forced to save out of Wada previously. May just do so again. This PowerPixel and Adora quite far.
And it's still okay. Right, you're trying to get a pick off the operator. You're getting stunned by the Nightfall. Even if the weapons don't get saved, look at the money that you still have for Wada in the next round. Now you have all of the advantages on your side. That comes to, I think, an op that's still available for Starbound that could probably glass cannon into the next round, if not small shields, but also, most importantly, is a cycle of ults that they saved in the last 2 rounds versus what MIBR just depleted in the last 2 rounds just to get to 9. Allows Wada to potentially start cycling these ults to close out this map of mine. So they're still in winning position for the side of Wada, but they have to be a little bit better in terms of anchoring up this B site, because MIBR are starting to find ways to open it up and really not get picked off when they're trying to go for these exits.
Well, since the MIBR timeout, they've done just such a fantastic job. They've converted both rounds ever since, but it was off of a dimensional drift. It was off of a Nightfall. Some slip-ups from Wada, and also them just conceding the round because they went and saved. So now it's time for Wada to call a timeout, try to kill this momentum, because MIBR can be quite a streaky team when they get the ball rolling.
I think right now you're looking at Astralis probably trusting her to stay towards this B site, and you need to have PowerPixel in a different spot. You can't play the chamber and the deadlock double senti on this B site when the wall will allow for you to get the information and allow these fast rotates to happen should the wall be broken. So now with the op coming out and Starbound, you saw what they were able to do with the Outlaw on that attack side a couple of rounds back. They definitely are still hot off the streak of all these shots that they're able to land as this chamber on the defensive side. So putting that responsibility onto them, and then also leveraging the ults based off the information that you're getting. I think they have to be, well, I don't think they have to be aggro. And I think it'll be a good idea here to surprise MIBR, as we've been turtled up a little bit too much in the last few rounds. And there you have it. A 4-1 setup potentially here. A lot of responsibility onto Starbound for the Showers pick. And then you're going for a potential C's showstopper, like they like to do here for the side of Wada.
Astralis will be on the side with the ult yet again, and after that call out from Starbound, yeah, not the confirmed kill, but still best start at 17 HP. Early deadlock barrier yet again, which MIBR, they haven't let that affect them too much. They just shoot it or wait it out.
That's why Juno has to play on the other side. You're not playing in composition with a Viper, so trying to stall out with smokes. She's going to have to play more passively towards that spawn to be more reactive on rushing back and forth and placing these smokes on Hookah in short A. MIBR still continues to default around that map, though. They're trying to force the hand into mistakes out of Wada. Now, PowerPixel is going to shoot off this Prowler. Going to give him a chance, maybe. Oh, no, as it clears out towards that. Actually, it still clears out towards that right. So there's still a gap right now, and still an advantage for Adora to play the Showstopper. Or it's a Shower's Crunch, or it's down towards Long B. Prime position with that Showstopper.
Someone got netted over in a short, but Wada not too worried. They're going to play for retake. The orbital strike that gets the spike down. That's a disaster. Wada to have them exactly where they want them. And now a Molly. Judah doesn't even have to look. The util, the ultimate, it's perfect. And there's still an Adora Showstopper. If Wada were ever to be worried, and maybe you should be. Lisa just off of contact, off of vibes. Is now turning this all in MIBR's favor. And it's just the death nail. Lisa with the third kill, but now injured. Crossfire will hold. Bastarda will make the call. Starbound. Will be given almost the isolation. But Lisa said, "You're stuck in here with me."
What a big round by Lisa. I was just about to mention, you can't start pushing out for the side of Wada. You just have to keep them anchored at that spot. You can't force them to TP because you have such a big flank coming out from Adora with the Showstopper. And as they peek out to try to delay and prevent the plant from happening, why do that? Just let them plant. Go for the flood retake off the Showstopper when everybody has to scatter out. Catch them into your crosshairs. But then you make this doable. The hero play from Lisa. And what huge advantage that Wada has built up in the last 3 rounds have now been annihilated. Eco round now for Wada. MIBR at 10, one away from tying things up when they have economy on their side.
And you know that Bastarda's on this side of the map. Wada will be called to attention. PowerPixel A needs to survive as long as they can to give Wada a fighting chance with this Nightfall. They really feel to invest in. Oh my god. Starbound. Humbling Bastarda. Now MIBR gonna tiptoe around B. Both Prowlers exhausted there from PowerPixel A. Still seasoned and hot. A lot to play with. Orb grab. Starbound not gonna make contact yet. Oh, Lisa, though, did get caught. He's gonna still try to take this duel against Astralis.
It's a nice stalemate, though. They had their stink bite on that ground, so they can't allow Astralis to swing out. So now that's just MIBR to pivot towards B. They have weapons to work with.
It's a good start. Does SRN want to cross this? That would get them the Showstopper. Gonna just choose to protect the spike carrier. Even though the smokes are in place, you never know what Wada are going to be up to. Double boxes to be in a good position to be against the nade and to see where this push is coming from. Nightfall invested. Maybe another thrifty under the belt of Wada. They can get themselves to map point.
Poison's off.
But Lisa's a different beast, and man, just could not jiggle well enough against the 4 people that were coming their way. Sayori now trying to defend the spike, and everyone's watching the one tap, almost the fadeaway. Good damage, but Wada thrifty their way to map point.
Oof, that was so close, because every time a player fell down, the other one just jiggled right into the same spot where Sayori got the first pick. I was like, oh my god, no more taps coming through. But that investment of that Nightfall, I thought was overkill, but it really allowed the third gear rather to get kicked in for Wada and to flood back into the site from the elbow. No chance now for the side of MIBR to really retake that site, and almost Lissa's Viper Orb onto Tin gave them a chance to flood out too from the spawn. I think it blocked the vision from Hookah as well, so you're gonna take that any day for Wada. Map point to try to tie up the series.
Starbound, even just that ego peek out of Hookah was such nonsense, and they get away with it, and now it gives them the op. Showstopper from SRN. You're going down with me, she says. The PowerPixel A. Now the captain's out of the picture, but Wada step into the fray. will be smoked off. Just flash now for Bastarde. Bastarde, that's all MIBR have to work with.
Nice
and
shot.
Good shutdown. Zador takes position. Now
Oh my.
try to shoot Bastarde in the back, but this is the final boss. You've walked down the wrong neighborhood, and Adora is gonna leave the scene of the crime.
How many hero plays are we going to see coming out now for the side of MIBR? Lissa, just 4 rounds ago. Bastarda right there towards that spawn. When they've done such a good job for Wada to just slowly grind that the defensive hold in the post plan for MIBR. Getting rid of the flanker was a huge piece for the side of MIBR. You're forcing the hand of players to walk into elbow. They need that fist bump. They need that fist bump. They need that fist bump. They need it. There it is. To force the hand of the players pushing into elbow. That would have been perfect for Starbound, but they were just a little bit too antsy and walked forward into that one, right into Sayori. Wide swinging into them and dropping them. If they held that angle, it would have been a different story. What a nice little transfer there for Bastarda, and we are now deciding things at the last round of regulations. Double shotguns for Power Pixel 8 and Juna, but the op still stands for Starbound.
Quite the risk. MIBR and good at using the double prowlers early, and it's dimensional drift. Bastarda looking to be the hero once again. Power Pixel 8 called out. Some steps at the back, and MIBR have space to work with. And at the front lines will be Bastarda holding. You hear this op from Starbound. Ooh. Looks like Wada putting on the pressure on the perimeter. Bastarda gonna just hit and dip, and wow, just through the smoke, takes the chance and pays off. Now Starbound will be displaced, and SRN plays time. Wada don't have it.
Beautiful.
Just awkward to push with shotguns. SRN picks the right time. Double push from Hookah. Lisa is the GOAT. We go to overtime.
Lisa and Bastarda in the last few rounds have been monumental to the success of MIBR pushing this into overtime. The TP to get info into site, dodging all of that util, placed around by Power Pixel 8. The offshot, no value. And then the flash right there for the double swing onto Starbound to punish them. And Lisa solo anchoring Hookah. Prime position. And the momentum right now is definitely on the side of MIBR and their fans in the arena.
The confidence blooms. MIBR, they flinch, but they flourish as well. To come back yet again. The force in overtime. The one they closed out before, Boombot. Oh, it did sense Wada nearby.
Just waiting for the smoke to go down. As soon as it starts, that's the smoke's coming down right away because Juna's been holding onto her iPad the whole time. So in a couple of seconds, the hit will come through after the Prowler. And you're crossing your fingers here. They could actually penetrate into the A site. It's been such a good stronghold for MIBR so far.
Number advantage for Wada as they enter the site. And what a nade! Just through the chaos, through the smokes that keep getting reestablished, as you said. Wada not even further delayed. And the person to get in on the site is now dead.
That was a seized nade on top of that canceled the satchels out from the attack. They're gambling now for the push.
Oh, the mark is huge from the fade. And Sayori, a big double. MIBR, map point, series point. Soul ticket on the line.
One more round needed for the second seed, just behind Team Liquid of MIBR. They try to join their compatriots over to Soul. Look at that. Just slingshot back into the boxes. What a beautifully placed seize. There's been so many times they went into the satchels pinch into showers that this time somehow it's read through. They probably took the time here of the overtime to talk this about and just fully countered Wada. Now on the defense though, the op is available. 3 pushes down towards this long B side.
Starbound forced to move off. Power Pixel A gone. Can MIBR do it? Another overtime win from 0-7 deficit, 0-5 deficit. From sweeping Wada to now sending them home for good. MIBR, the crowd is behind them, and they go behind the Prowler. They're kind of toying with Wada, seeing Starbound will teleport out. Oh, a quick shot, but Bastarda gets ahead of the game! No wasting time! Enter the site, the molly in the path, the Shawless with the hero play! Juna and Dora need to come together for one final time with the Odin now smoked off. Close boombot to the side. The crowd drowning out Wada. As Lisa holds position, if the smoke dissipates, there could be blood on the floor. As MIBR let Lisa be the hero again. Orbital strike thrown from Sayori. Wada scramble. More precious seconds taken away. Juna has the scatter. She scouts. She's on the spike. Sayori checks. Keeps Wada honest. Adore at the front. The defuse won't be held. They may be made in Brazil, but they're destined for greatness. Brazil sends their best to Seoul.
And when you're looking at the roster of MIBR coming in with 2 new players in the roster after falling short in the grand finals last year against Shopify Rebellion Gold, gambling here on the trade-off of Bastarda, and also bringing in a newcomer in Lisa. They've proven now that Brazil goes deep in the talent pool of Game Changers. Overpowering Wada, a team here that has won kickoff in 2025, has been looking for an organization since the beginning, have just trusted on their friendship and on just the love of the game to make it this far, to this stage, and getting so close, but to unfortunately lose the last 2 maps when they had the lead. MIBR shows resilience, and MIBR shines.